Hello, my name is Pancracia. In this video, we will learn what grammatical morphemes are and how they are acquired when learning a second language. First, let's have really clear what morphemes are. Morphemes are the littlest pieces of a language that have meaning. There are two types of morphemes. The first type are morphemes that have meaning all on their own. For example, is. This morpheme means to be, and it can be used as a verb in a sentence. The second type of morphemes are the ones that only have meaning when added to another word. For example, the morpheme es can be added to a word to indicate plural or subject-verb agreement. Like in the sentence, she thinks this video is amazing. But if you see the morpheme es by itself, it does not have meaning. So, what are grammatical morphemes? Simple. They are units of meaning that express grammatical functions in English, such as tenses, person, possessives, numbers, and so on.
Thank you, Pancracia. Hello, my name is Tom, and I will explain a little bit more about this. In order to understand how second language learners acquire grammatical morphemes, we must first understand the grammatical morpheme acquisition sequence created by Krashen. This sequence explains the predictability of these morphemes. The morphemes are divided in 4 categories, and their acquisition will always begin from the category of the box on the top to the boxes in the bottom. Although the order of acquisition inside the boxes cannot be predicted, second language learners acquire all the grammatical morphemes in the first category to move into the following and so on. Let's compare Krashen's sequence of grammatical morpheme acquisition to colors. Each color represents a morpheme, and here we have the first category. It doesn't matter the morpheme the learner acquires first, but the learner will need all the morphemes to move to the second category. As you can see, this process is dynamic, so the learner will never stop learning the morphemes from previous categories. Thus, the student will be able to go through all these categories until they can use all the morphemes.
We have to take into account that an individual's first language does have an influence in the acquisition of these morphemes. Different people with different first language backgrounds will acquire these morphemes in the same order, but some of them will struggle to acquire them more than others. Their struggles will depend on the similarities or differences between their first and the second language they are learning. For example, Spanish speakers conjugate verbs based on the subject of the sentence, so they will have many problems when contrasting this feature with English, and realizing that the addition of s at the end of verbs would only happen with third-person singular.
When second language learners are able to use grammatical morphemes correctly, they make what they say understandable for others. It is important for teachers of English as a foreign language to recognize and be aware of which acquisition stage of grammatical morphemes the learner is in, because knowing what a learner is able to do can inform teachers of how to guide them towards the next stage of acquisition. For example, a teacher realizes that his student produces he thinking, so the progressive that belongs to the first stage of acquisition is being used properly, but the auxiliary to be that belongs to the second stage is not present. So the teacher gives the student input with the correct sentence, he is thinking, using the morpheme is properly.